Yoshi of Igama College's Foundation Incorporated, your 21st century literature teacher. This is the second part now of the 21st century literary genre, elements, structures, and traditions. Let's start now with the American period. During the American period, we only have two literary genres. These are the free writing and the drama. In free writing, it writes continuously for a set of period of time without worrying about rhetorical concerns or conventions and mechanics. While the drama, it is a composition of verse or prose presenting a story in pantomime or dialogue. So these are the literary written during the American period. The first one is Mga Gintong Dahon. The second is Tanikalang Ginto. The third, Hindi Ako Patay. And lastly is Kahapon, Ngayon at Bukas. Let's proceed now to the Japanese period. During the Japanese period, these are the literary genres. The first one is the plays. It is a work of drama, usually consisting mostly of dialogue between characters and intended for theatrical performance rather than just reading. The second one is the novels, a fictitious narrative of book, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism. The third one is the poems or the haiku. It is a specific type of Japanese poem which has 7 syllables divided into 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5 syllables. Haikus or haiku are typically written on the subject of nature. The word haiku, pronounced haiku, is derived from the Japanese word of hukku, meaning starting verse. Lastly is the short stories. It is a prose fiction that can be read in one sitting, usually between 20 minutes to an hour. Writing during the Japanese reign were journalistic in nature. People felt suppressed, but the spirit of the nationalism slowly seeped into their consciousness. Thus, essays were composed to glorify Filipinos and to not figuratively attack the Japanese. Let's proceed now to the 21st century period. Literary genres sense of freedom already. The literary genres are, the first one is drama. It is emotions and conflicts are expressed during dialogue and movements or actions. The second one is the creative nonfiction. It can be an essay, a journal, article, a research paper, or a poem. It can be personal or not. Next one is blog. It is an online journal or informational website displaying information in the reverse chronological order, with latest posts appearing first. It is a platform where a writer or even a group of writers share their views on an individual subject. Next is the poetry. It is a verse and rhythmic writing with imagery that evokes an emotional response from the reader. Actually, there are categories under poetry. The first one is the mobile phone or textula. It is a literary work originally written on a cellular phone via text messaging. Chapters usually consist of about 70 to 100 words each due to the character limitations on cell phones. The next one is the hyperpoetry. It is a new genre of literature that uses the computer screen as medium rather than the printed page. The literary works rely on the qualities unique to a digital environment, such as linked World Wide Web pages or effects such as sound and movement. The third one is the spoken word poetry. Here, in spoken poetry, you are not very particular with the structure, but you are very particular with the rhyming sounds. Sometimes, even the spoken poetry is good, but if you cannot deliver it well or powerful, the spoken poetry is useless or it is not convincing. So you need to put emotions or heart in every line so that you will catch the audience's interest or you may awaken the heart and minds of the audience. Next, a literary genre is fiction. It is a made up story. Next is the short story. It is a piece of prose fiction that typically can be read in one sitting and focuses on a self-contained incident or series of linked incidents with the intent of evoking a single effort or mood. So there are also a category under short story. The first one is the chick lit. It consists of heroine-centered narratives that focus on the trials and tribulations of their individual protagonists. It often addresses issues of modern womanhood from romantic relationships to matter in the workplace in humorous and light-hearted ways. Next one is flash fiction. Fiction of extreme brevity. Next is realistic fiction. Story that can actually happen and is true to real life. Next is the historical fiction. It is a story with fictional characters and events in a historical settings. Next is the horror. These are frightfully shocking, terrifying, or revolting stories. The next one is the mystery. It deals with unrevealing of secrets and solution of a crime. The next one is illustrated novels. These are stories through text and illustrated images. Next is the graphic novels. It is a narrative work in which the story is conveyed to the reader using comic form. Lastly is the speculative fiction. It is a type of a story that deals with observation of the human condition but offers the experience through a different challenges as to see what tomorrow could be like or what the mythic past of our imagination actually is. Under this speculative fiction, we have the science fiction. Actually, it is a story based on impact or potential science, either actual or imagined, and it is a set in the future or on other planets. The example for this one is the San Andreas. Next one is the fantasy. So it is more on imagination here. The third one is the humor. It is the faculty of perceiving what is amusing or comical. So actually that is the end now of the second part of the 21st century literary genre. So this is the end now of the part 2, 21st century literary genre, structures, elements, and traditions. The complete information about the part 1 and part 2 is available in LMS, Messenger, and Google platforms. Remember to send us your exit responses on our chat room following the given pattern. 3 things you learned today, 2 things you found interesting in this lesson, 1 question you still have on your mind regarding on this lesson. Rate us also your understanding of today's learning by sending one of the following emojis: satisfied, happy, confused, boring, and sleepy. Good day and see you again in the next lecture.